gentlemen, joining me in the car today on Carpooling with Ben. He is the state's the first one. Never been a director like this before, ladies and gentlemen. The Director of Veterans Affairs, Mr. Kasim J. Kasim, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Ben, for having me, sir.
How are you?
I am truly blessed.
Doing good?
Blessed.
Great. What does your office do, and what services do you provide?
Our job as the state's Office for Veteran Affairs is to get veterans access to their benefits, entertain any questions that they may have, their family members and caregivers have, that may have, to be their advocate for every veteran. We have over 67,000 veterans in this ocean state. Over 70% of those veterans are over the age of 55. Wow. But the largest segment of our veteran population are the Vietnam-era vets. Again, to our Vietnam vets, welcome home. Word can't express enough the sacrifices you made to our nation. Yeah. We have vets that are transitioning back home from active duty, to be an advocate for them, to make sure that they have access to the education benefits, access to the job market. You know, today's younger generation, it's all about education and jobs. Yeah. And so I'd be an advocate for them to go speak out to the other employers, to have a direct relationship with our universities throughout our great ocean state, and to provide them the latest updates on what's going on with all the nuances to being a veteran. There are over 13 categories that a veteran may need over their lifespan in terms of housing, employment, education, access to mental health care, benefits, entitlements, municipality roles, because we have 39 municipalities. We have, every municipality has veteran representation. They have an active voice to define legislation, to be, and then as to be in a cabinet level position with the governor, have direct line with the governor, go right to her in terms of anything a veteran may need. And that is tremendous, because it sends a clear signal to our veterans that the ocean state is here for them. Yeah. They have a voice.
That's so great. That's so great. Now, for those of you watching at home, we're going to cut to when Kasim and I first got in the car, because once I turned the cameras on, the conversation started flowing. And so before we throw to that, and that will take you through the rest of today's episode, I will tell you this. The conversation was flowing so easily and so naturally, and that's exactly how you run your office. And
yes.
That's exactly how you maintain.
Yes.
And so if you are out there, and this is a little midway PSA, if you're out there and you are curious, don't hesitate, reach out, keep watching, because at the end of the episode, you'll have all the contact information, and of course, it'll all be in the notes.
Absolutely. And people call, they said, was that the director on the phone that I just talked with? They like, access. I'm like, yes, I'm a person, I'm a veteran.
I'm a real boy.
I'm a people person.
Yeah.
You know, I love being around people, but it needs to illustrate the job itself.
Absolutely.
The governor said to me, Kasim, this is not a 9-to-5 job. Outreach is one of your #1 priorities, and our veterans need to have a voice. And to her credit, my job is to be out there in the public. My job is not to be defined by sitting behind a desk.
Right.
And I have a staff to do those type of functions. But you're talking about leadership and trust and developing a team in that capacity. But at the end of the day, it's about touching the lives of every veteran and their family members in that capacity. And there's so many nuances to that. There are updates that are happening with the federal VA all the time. So I got to be able to be attuned to what those changes are, to be abreast and to be a partner with the other neighboring states. Because when we talk about veteran affairs, there are no boundaries in that capacity. So, but I have a great working relationship with the director in Connecticut. I have a great working relationship with the secretary up in Massachusetts. First name basis, we're friends. Matter of fact, we were at a function this past Friday for an event at the Naval Station Newport.
Wow.
All committed together to ensuring that no veteran falls to the cracks. If they're living, I don't care, regardless of where they live at. If you're in need of something, my job as a director and our staff is to get you access to those various questions that you may have, answers to those questions that you may have.
Enjoy the rest of the episode. That middle age, that 40 to 50 to 60, they're savvy, and they're becoming more.
They're becoming more savvy, yes.
And
yes.
that's a huge thing to be able to communicate on that level.
Right.
So.
And the governor and I, we talked about this in terms of when I remember when we were I was doing the interview process with her, and she said, what are the things I need to change immediately if I'm the director? And I told her, our website was an abomination. Okay. If I as a veteran can't use it, how can I expect our veterans to use it. And especially a generation, 70% of all of our veterans are over the age of 55.
Wow.
So that means that technology-wise, it can be a daunting task. So the common denominator, I have to make sure that every veteran goes to our website, is easily accessible, and it acts as a single-stop shop for to answer internet questions that they have. If they have an issue with any questions about anything, we have a contact us link. You click on it and you ask us a question. I get that email. Mike Jolin gets that email. My 2 case managers get that email. And my webmaster gets that email. Within 24 or 48 hours, someone from my office, mandatory, is going to get back in touch with that veteran. And a lot of the questions too are, we can answer it, follow up in the email, and get the answer right there, put in an email, and away it goes.
Awesome.
Some of which were a little difficult in some regards, so we schedule a follow-up appointment. They physically come into our office and we sit them down and walk them through the process to identify what the black and white is, and if there's some gray areas, then we'll do our due diligence and get back and advise the veteran as the best course of action. Some of which, because of the black and white, it's, it is what it is in terms of here's what we recommend you do. At the end of the day, it's up to the veteran to make those choices, what they want to do. But knowing that they have an advocate at the state level, that now our job is to benefit them, to get them pointed in the right direction.
That's a huge change.
It's tremendous. Difference. But that's the world that we live in too, in terms of, we know the horror stories of our Vietnam vets. We as a nation, it wasn't our brightest moment. We failed them miserably. And so at least we're learning now with our post 9/11 vets that all the things that they need, and have those tools readily available to give them access. Like I said, the website, updating that, our 2 case managers. One of my case managers, he came from the Providence VA Medical Center. Over 8 years, his primary function was veteran advocacy.
Wow.
Getting veterans access, and especially with our age group, that's a key trait to have at a case manager. My other case manager, he came from Operation Stand Down. Okay. Dealing with the homeless, the needy, education, those that are finding job market. You put those 2 case managers together with all those capabilities. Oh, they're unstoppable. Exactly. And so now, and they both, when I did the onboarding process, to cater to each one of their strengths, I had each one of them learn from the other one. That way they both are knowledgeable about the other's expertise. In that regard too. That way you talk to one, it's just like you're talking to the other one. And it is so easy in terms of providing outreach. Because we can always, especially as vets helping vets, we can always do more and help navigate. Because vets tend to talk to other vets.
There's a common bond there.
Exactly. So, and we can understand that because we're able to have the capability of asking the right questions. Because a veteran comes from my office, they say, hey, they want a property tax exemption. Well, so the following question with my staff will be, are you in the VA healthcare system? They were like, no. Okay, well let's pursue that option first. Now, do you have a service-connected disability? Well, yes. Okay, well guess what? Because you're in the VA, because you have a service-connected disability, now you're eligible for tax breaks. In your municipality, you take this documentation, take it to the tax assessor office, and that's going to reduce some of your cost of living, your living cost. You didn't know that. You wouldn't have known that because you're a veteran.
So it's not that. Listen, as a country, I think we could all agree that we can do better in taking care of our vets, which is important. But we're also at a point where there are a lot of considerations and a lot of options out there. It's getting the knowledge to the vet. It's getting them the right and helping them to follow through step by step on a state and a national level. It's not the easiest thing to navigate.
No, it's not. No, there's so many nuances associated with that. The updates are coming out all the time, so it's incumbent upon us that our website has to be the best in the nation. A hub for information. Our office, headquartered, centrally located in Warwick by design, because people have to drive all the way somewhere.
They got to go if they got to go past more than 3 Dunkin' Donuts.
Forget about it.
That's overnight accommodation.
Exactly. It's packing lunch, right? That type of got to go over a bridge. Were you crazy?
I brought my passport just to come over here to pick
there you go.
Today.
See, exactly. So, but what I think is too, having it centrally located that way, it's on a RIPTA route. 2 RIPTA routes are on Jefferson Boulevard. We are 20 minutes away from majority of the state, and that's easy for vets. Plenty of parking.
Yeah.
wheelchair accessible.
Sure.
We have an elevator.
Yeah.
All of those accommodations to serve our vet. And what it sends, I'm a family type person, people
Sure.
person. It sends a clear signal that our officers are home
Yeah.
for our veterans. All
Sure.
veterans, family members, and caregivers. Because our veterans, the majority of our veterans are over age 55, we're getting more calls now from the family members and caregivers.
Wow.
Asking questions about eligibility requirements. What are the options to getting into the veterans home? What are the requirements to being eligible to be buried at the cemetery? And other nuances, certainly navigating the VA healthcare system as a whole. How do we apply? Where do I go to? How long does it take before I hear back from the VA before I raise the alarm, or I need to have additional questions about that? Our case managers, as well as all of our staff, can handle those questions. We get walk-ins. Last month, we had our 2 case managers. They had a caseload of 172.
Wow.
In 1 month.
That's a lot.
We had over 60 walk-ins into our office. 60 walk-ins.
Yeah.
We're averaging about 15 calls a day.
And to touch back on the walk-ins, if a person walks in, I mean that says something, that they're almost at the end of their rope. As far as, at this point, listen, I just got to go down there.
Right.
And maybe that's the mindset of our generation is,
Right.
We're used to being able to figure it out via phone or
Right.
go online.
Right.
And then
Right.
you get to that point of frustration. It's like, all right, listen, I'm just going to drive there.
Yep.
And for some of these people,
Right.
These veterans, they're just at the end of their rope, and I'm just going to go down there because I've got to get this figured out.
And we don't tell veterans no. We want veterans to walk in. This is why it's so important, because you think about it, it's kind of sad too. 2 years ago, where was all of this? We didn't. But so we get better. We're better today than we were yesterday. But the point of the matter is, though, if you are a veteran, a family member, or a caregiver, or know a vet, or in crisis or in some type of need, reach out to us. No veteran should have to navigate any system by itself. I mean, I just retired last year, over 25 years,
Wow.
and nobody got were successful by themselves.
Yep.
It takes a team.
Yep.
It happened, and that continues to be the case. So if it worked so great for us as a military organization, why stop now?
Right.
We owe it to, and here's another thing, Ben. Rhode Island is 1/9 the size of New York City.
Yeah.
Population-wise.
Yeah.
We got to work together as a team. There is no me world. That
Right.
world does not exist. We got to work together. We got to compromise. We got to sit in the table, and to work together to identify the issues. And we all live in a budgetary constrained environment.
Mm-hmm.
But what do we work together to pool our resources? Working with RIPTA to identify some transportation issues that we have. Working with all the nonprofits to get them involved, to identify what their needs are, and to better serve our veterans. We're in a process this fall of launching Rhode Island Serves. So the general synopsis of the program, so say if a veteran walks into my office and I provide A, B, and C services, yet they require services D. My office doesn't provide service D, but what if I could take a systematic approach, log into a system, enter that veteran's data one time only, because it's hard when you have to dial 800 number and have to hit 5 different buttons. Or you have to tell your story 5 different times to 5
Sure.
different people,
Yep.
and you still don't know if you got quality customer service or your needs being met.
Right.
That's frustrating to any Rhode Islander.
Sure,
But what if
absolutely.
we could create a system, a database online database to where I enter that customer's information one time, we share that information, and I farm that out to a provider that can provide services D. They get the alert via email or via web-based, and then they call that veteran in and can schedule up an appointment consultation, and they sit that veteran down and work through the system, and then they give them services D. So once that provider provides them services D, we get my office gets an email back saying that, hey, the services have been provided for that veteran, and the case is closed.
Wow.
A online case management referral system. And we're launching that. We're doing a soft launch here shortly internally to make sure we don't have any bugs or anything like that, to train the staff. And then we're going to take a systematic approach to start to expand our service providers to provide those various wraparound services in that regard too. And it's a whole community network.
You guys have taken a really huge approach at putting a face, putting an actual physical face and presence to the office, and that's been very important because that face-to-face communication. Veterans who may be older, not quite into the veterans home at this point, or receiving round-the-clock care,
Right.
health care, but veterans who are in that window of whether it be between 40 and 50 and 50 to 60 or even up to 70 years old, for them, they feel better and they feel more affirmed if they have that face-to-face contact.
Oh, absolutely. And I like to look at, I'm a glass half full type of guy.
Sure.
And I look at all the positives of being Rhode Island. Being known that everybody knows everybody. There is no such thing as 6 degrees of separation, more like F3 at best.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to be out there in the public, to talk to people, to get in that what defines me. I'm a leader, management by walking around, hearing from the people, because I hear from our veterans, families, and caregivers. I can go right to the governor's office and come up with here's the problem, but here's some solutions associated based on what I'm hearing from my veterans. Guess what, Ben? You can't do that behind a desk.
No. Nope. You got to be out there.
You got to be out there.
Absolutely.
And then, but I got to create staff to do the things, to work through the things, all the agenda items, and work through the nuances associated in terms of with the administrative side of the house as well. But in terms of providing outreach, our constituents need to know that they have a voice, and they're there to be seen, and they're going to be listened to. Active listening, that has served me well, and it continues to serve me well in terms of listening to our constituents and finding out what their issues are. And some of it could maybe be simple, or just by picking up a phone and connecting this person with this person.
Right.
Or some of it, but hey, let's go back and look at some stuff. We might have to do something legislatively. Okay, well, let me go pick up the phone and talk to our General Assembly leadership, and to schedule meetings or sit them down and walk them through the processes, hear what they're hearing from their constituents. One thing I've started, I do a town hall, all 39 municipalities. I visited all 39 municipalities last year. Yeah. This year, I'm scheduling a town hall in all those municipalities. And once I schedule a town hall event, I personally pick up the phone, invite the General Assembly members that represent that district to that town hall meeting. The town council members, the mayors, the administrators, the managers, I invite them as well.
Sure.
Because in order for us to be successful, to do this business called Veteran Affairs, I can't do it alone.
You got to have people on the team.
Got to have people on the team.
Absolutely.
And guess what? Having us all there listening to the veterans, if the veterans are there telling the administrators, the General Assembly, we need this legislative stuff done, we're there.
It's the least they can do to show up and be part of it, and at least show the support to the veterans that attend. I mean, that's such a huge thing.
And it's easy. That's easy.
Yeah.
It's free. And we're listening to the constituents. And guess what? I'm not the one saying it. Our veteran population, they're the ones that's saying it. They're the ones that saying, hey, we need this. We need access to this. And we need to do this a little bit better. We don't need to improve on this area. And at the end of the day, that's being a steward for the taxpayer.
It's so much better to get it right from the source than it is to send out surveys and let's compile the surveys and nothing against the survey takers, although,
Right.
But this is such a great approach, especially for, like you say, a state the size of Rhode Island. We should be the best at this.
Right.
We should really have it down, and then we can be the example going forward to other states and say, here's how you do it, and here's how you can help, the fellow veterans, throughout the country.
My director counterparts in the United States, they laugh when we say the 20-minute analogy, when you could be in Texas and drive 2 hours and still be in the same city.
Yeah, well,
so that's kind of funny in that regard too. But it goes to show you that I can pick up the phone, I can talk to all 4 of our congressional delegation. I can go drive and talk to the mayor of Warwick and sit down and say, hey, mayor, here's some things that we need to look at. Here's the things I'm seeing out in the community. Here's some options that we may have in that regard too. And it's just so important to have that network, that backing from all of our leadership in the chair. It's to epitomize how we care for our veterans.
If people want to get a hold of you or your office, what are the easiest ways to do it?
All available means. 560 Jefferson Boulevard.
Yep.
Since you're located in Warwick.
Sure.
near the Commissioner's Office for Higher Post-Secondary Education. We're on the second floor. We have our phone number, 921-2119.
Okay.
We have our website, new and approved, best on the planet, vets.ri.gov.
Vets.ri.gov.
Yes, absolutely. We also have a contact us page on there. Like I said before, if you click to fill out the form, I get that email.
Okay.
My case managers get that email. My policy advisor and my webmaster, we all get that email.
That's excellent.
And within 24 to 48 hours, someone from my office is going to establish a communication back to give you a follow-up. We're on Facebook as well.
All right.
We're live on Twitter, Rhode Island Vets. Vets Director.
You could follow the vet, but you got to follow this guy on Twitter.
Yeah.
You put some great stuff out there. You're constantly sharing resources, and you really take this job to heart, which is nothing surprising, being a Navy person. You know,
but I tell anybody, because everybody has got so much energy. I get back to a state that's given me so much. My wife is from Westerly. Our kids were educated in the public school system here in Rhode Island. I own a home in Rhode Island, and all my duty station, all roads lead back through Rhode Island in some capacity throughout my entire naval career. And so I always say, as I'm retiring, give more back to the community. What can I do better in terms of volunteering my time and services?
That's excellent.
And this opportunity presented itself, and I'm humble, and I'm humble in the fact that I'm the first director, but it comes a huge responsibility as well to set the foundation up the right way. Again, like I said before, to being a steward for the taxpayer, to working together, to pick up the phone, to go get in the car, to go talk to the other state agencies, go talk to the other municipal leaders, to reach out to our federal partners and see how can we as a state bridge that gap to create a network that ensures that no veteran falls through the cracks.
Absolutely.
We have our monthly meeting for Department of Corrections, another initiative. We have 82 veterans that are incarcerated. And what's our plan when they get released?
Sure.
The state, we owe them that have a plan because we don't want them to go back there.
Right.
They paid their debt to society, as the governor has stated. So we, as a state, we owe it to the taxpayers, we owe it to them to have a systematic plan to take a systematic approach to identifying the resources to assist them and to get the things that they need to hopefully mitigate them from having to go back.
Sure.
And find the four walls, the friendly confines of that institution.
Sure. Well, Director Yarn, thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely,
this
Ben.
has been awesome. If you and I walked into a restaurant, people think we're identical twins because we're about the same height and everything.
It's clear we both look at our both our bellies.
We look
we don't turn away too many meals.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. This has been my pleasure. Please, man. Thank you for all that you do.
Oh,
not only just a voice. You got the voice for radio, but also you look the part.
I got the face for radio too.
And I didn't know too that you're a band member too. So that's all.
Well, I dabble in a few different areas. It's
that life work balance, right?
Absolutely.